gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Welcome back. Early Bird Special, Hour 2. I'm Chris Burdick, that's Sparky, and as always on Tuesdays, we got our wrestling analyst in the house, Mr. 24KG.
A yeet.
What's going on, sir?
Doing good, sir.
Doing well.
Oh, you got my
EO
EO Sky music right there. If you guys don't know, EO Sky is one of the fastest up-and-coming superstars on the Women's Raw roster. Look for her everywhere. She reminds me of the leader of the Crazy 88.
Well, this isn't the first time that people might have seen her, too. I mean, if you're a long-time wrestling fan, especially underground wrestling stuff,
She's
been around for a while.
Part of the Lucha Underground stuff for a while there. I mean, she's
even fought men.
She's one of my favorites, man.
She fought Penta, much like some others that are on the roster at the moment.
Penta does not care. Equal opportunity, but
yeah, I think we need to get a Penta and Randy tag team as they take on the entire women's roster.
Which you talking about like 2009 Randy Orton, where everybody could get
now.
it?
Are you kidding? Randy will do that now. He's
Like,
still RKO anybody.
I'll see you in the grocery store and give you an RKO out of nowhere.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of Randy Orton, let's start with Backlash on Saturday. What were your thoughts?
Okay, Sparky, I owe you an apology.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
Yep, I owe
Orton's
you
fresh.
an apology, man. You know, the pay-per-view overall, it was good. But once we got to John Cena surviving 14 RKOs, 3 AAs,
Going through the table multiple times.
and everything else, I'm sorry, Sparky, I owe you an apology. That was wet dog crap. that match, I'm sorry. It took me back to my childhood. Yeah, it was nostalgic, but it was still reminiscent of your drunk uncles getting into it at a family barbecue. Can somebody please break this up?
Yes.
That's all I had to say about it, because I've seen it 20, 30, 40, 50 times over the last 20 years. So with almost a time capsule-esque kind of feeling of watching this match, I seen every spot that they pulled in every previous version of their matches and encounters just reversed. John doing what Randy did. Randy used to do what John used to do. Little nuances here and new things there. The Logan Paul Prime energy drink spot where he drank it and it was disgusting.
He's like,
Hilarious.
They went to break at the perfect time.
Yeah, it was great. But nonetheless, R-Truth running in. I don't even want to know what's going on with R-Truth's dreads. Hey, R-Truth, holla at me. I got somebody for you, bro. What was that?
Is it true that they're fighting at Saturday Night's main
That's
event?
the rumor.
I would
God.
hope, because R-Truth, God bless his heart, 50-something years old, still moves a little bit smoother than
Yes.
John Cena
Yes.
in the ring. And I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was.
That was the surprise for me.
But overall, I would rate that match a D+, bro.
The match?
Yeah, the match was just
And surprising,
It was terrible for
the
me.
women's match was actually a lot better than what I
banger.
was expecting.
That was a banger. There were plenty of banger matches on Backlash.
Yes.
But maybe I just had my expectations too high set for John and Randy. I got to remember, they're vets. They're in their twilight. Randy is a foot taller and 40 pounds heavier.
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, my friend.
Man,
It
it'll
makes you
get you
forget
high to the
exactly where
sky.
you are for a while.
Yes, indeed. You'll be walking around and end up somewhere that you don't plan to be.
And we're not even halfway through the year of this farewell tour. So hopefully these matches are a lot better with Cena, or we're going to have a long year.
Which we're supposed to get Cena here in Bakersfield on
Yes.
the 6th.
Yes.
I was going to
Supposed
say
to be.
that's the SmackDown going into Money in the Bank. So that's going to be cool to at least see if you can't afford the tickets to Money in the Bank.
I don't think anybody's prepared to be financially ruined.
No.
No, not like that. But going back to this R-Truth thing real quick, because post-show, for those of you guys who don't know, they do post PLE press conferences and a post-show and all this other stuff. And that is where John Cena went about putting R-Truth through a table and starting this entire rumor that we're going to get Truth versus Cena here at Saturday night's main event. Personally, I think it's a good match.
We're taking it back to Capital Punishment.
We are.
About 12 years ago, right?
But see, here's the thing. It's more of a symbolic thing, isn't it? Because remember what John said when he first turned heel. Everybody, including that kid right there, is a toxic relationship. If
Little
you were a
Jimmy.
fan of Cena, you're a toxic relationship, which he himself is trying to go and rid himself of, right? So it only makes sense that he rids the number one most toxic fan he has, which is R-Truth.
This is going to be so sad. This is going to be sad.
Yeah. Post this match, because I don't think people are ready to see depressed R-Truth.
Okay, guys, look, if you're not familiar with R-Truth, he is one of the most charismatic, comedically just gifted wrestlers of a generation.
Was it like 42-time 24/7 champion or something like that?
Crazy
Stupid
like
number.
that. And survived many of eras where athletes or wrestlers like him much so didn't make it through the cuts, and he's continued to put on a great performance in the ring and out of the ring. So your point being made right there, Chris, is excellent, because I don't think people have put that together with R-Truth literally over the years professing to be the biggest John Cena fan.
Right.
He's older than John Cena and says, when I grow up, I want to
I'm
be
gonna
just
go-
like you, man. You know, it's hilarious, but in the sense of how they're really going to play this out, it's well-deserved. Now, to suspend kayfabe right here just for a second, John Cena's run right now is going to be a great one, because he's working with everybody he wants to work with.
Right.
He's handpicking these people who might have been overlooked, or just, you know, a nostalgia wave.
Give
of,
me
hey,
a Rusev fight, please.
yes,
Oh,
I
that'd
hope
be awesome.
on the run Rusev is on right now, with he's still doing the Redeemer act, but not so much like how it was in AEW. He's here to rescue men from themselves, of mediocrity, complacency, comfortability, and push them into a whole era of brutality, which I'm really looking forward to.
Have they ever
he's the
done
right person
that?
to do
Because
that.
that's kind of an interesting storyline.
I
I
don't
don't
think
remember
so.
if that's ever been done in wrestling.
I'm gonna beat you into not submission, but success.
It seems like that'd be something like a Mr. Perfect would kind of want to do at some point in his career, obviously. But
Kurt Hennig was more like, I just want to embarrass you to show you how
Right.
good I am, which I think is a good ploy right now for Rusev, especially with the slow build that they're cooking him on until he gets a worthy adversary, because they've got him. They're going to have him like eat the whole mid card up right now until it becomes the upper mid card, where you got your US or IC title contenders.
Right.
And once we get there, can you imagine Rusev, a Jacob Fatu, or a Rusev and Jeff Cobb? Like, that's going to be crazy.
You know, and we could talk about that with the Jeff Cobb thing, because I need you to explain more who Jeff is, because I have not followed his career as thoroughly as some, but
He is an amazing beast, and I can give you a quick rundown when we get to it. But just note, just because he is with the Samoans,
yeah, he
does not mean he is Samoan.
No, I made that point yesterday. He's not part of the family. He's actually Filipino.
Yes, Filipino and Polynesian.
Yeah.
And he's had a lengthy career in some other organizations where he's held gold in every single one of them.
Yeah. And honestly, could you imagine a match though of Jeff Cobb, Otis, Bronson Reed, and Jacob Fatu?
Might as well just throw Rhino in there for
Saying.
because
You want to talk about the biggest dudes in the entire locker room.
I you know what, I don't have the dexterity to do it, but I do have the energy to imitate it. And I believe Big E said it best with, we got big sweaty men in here busting meat, and I don't want no technical classic, no 5-star general match. No, we need just 300-pound people running into each other and smacking flesh and sweat into the front row. Now, as disgusting as that sounds, people, on television, it makes great ratings. These are some very big athletic boys. Imagine what was the year the Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl?
Is that 85?
Imagine that whole offensive and defensive line running into each other at one time
and doing flips in the air while they land.
That's
I don't think people really take that into account, that these guys really are the size of NFL linemen.
Refrigerators
doing
with legs.
flips for fun.
Oh, yeah. When
Like,
it was like last night's match with the Creed brothers and
Okay.
War Raiders.
We need to get into that,
Yeah.
because that right there was a sleeper And I
Yes.
think nobody expected it to be as good as it was. And we should have, honestly. We should have. I'm disappointed in myself for that one, fellas.
I want a triple threat between the Raiders, the Creed brothers, and the New Day.
New day.
For
Hey,
the title.
the new day is cooking. This whole
I'm loving it, dude.
Jerry curl,
Austin-
boys in the hood braids that
Yo.
Xavier Woods got going on with the
Xavier
the
Woods,
Razor
though,
Ramon
looking at the
toothpick.
Creed brothers and saying, "Those are my kids. Those are my sons."
Yeah,
Yes.
I,
For those
I
of-
love it. I love it.
For
I
those
love
who
it.
don't understand, Xavier Woods' real name is Alexander Creed, right? Isn't that what it is? Or it's
yeah.
something of that
Austin
nature?
Creed.
Austin Creed.
Austin Creed.
Austin Creed. So obviously with the Creed brothers, who are both two massive white
That's
men.
what he was meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, those are my sons. That
Yeah.
was
Do you want to
Man,
get
we
into
wanna-
Raw?
We want to give those boys an opportunity. Look how well
Hey,
Brutus. He's a
so
big boy.
You want to get into Raw first?
Let's get into Raw.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay,
get
because
into
we
Raw.
we kind of went over Backlash in our texts, and
We've got CM Punk walking to the ring after we've had a brief, I'd say, spell from what's the guy? CM Punk and Seth Rollins, their feud going on right now.
Yeah.
It
And
was
when I heard Heyman, I was like, okay, cool.
he called him the Penguin. That was cool.
good.
That was very
That was
funny.
pretty funny.
I'm gonna put my hands around your fat neck to your fat eyeball, squeeze out like Total Recall.
Yeah,
All that. That was
blah,
great.
blah, blah,
that was
blah.
great. You know, it led to an interaction where we had a brief brawl with Sami Zayn to the rescue, Braun Breaker coming in there, and then of course the world champion Jey Uso coming to kind of fend everybody off. But I honestly think that this is going to lead to Sami Zayn possibly being the third man in Seth Rollins' faction, which
What?
I didn't think about it until I seen it, and I was like, it's a possibility. It's a possibility, but I wouldn't want to see Sami Zayn on a heel run right now.
I don't see
Again,
him
right
pulling.
after the bloodline.
Yeah,
part.
I'm tired of him being involved with organizations. Let him air out by himself, have a couple of feuds, and we'll see how that goes.
Well, I was going to
along.
say it's how post Raw. I mean, Triple H is doing a hell of a job as tinkering with. It could be Logan. It could be, which I hope is Gunther,
Mm.
and Sammy.
I'm still leaning on Austin Creed.
You
Or,
know
I'm sorry,
what?
Austin
Austin
Theory.
Theory.
I'd even go out as far because I think we've kind of forgotten about this guy. I hope he's ready to come back from injury.
Bronson Reed.
Yes,
That would be
sir.
awesome. That would be
My
awesome.
big boy.
I think he comes back and helps out
Or Jacob or Solo.
Jacob.
I think that fits more since the
More
last time
so,
we
yes.
saw
I
him,
think him and
was
Jacob-
with the bloodline. I think it makes more sense that he comes back to help the bloodline again. I'm still leaning on Austin Theory to be the third member of this faction because if you saw the promo yesterday between A-Town Down Under, there is very visible frustrations between the two of them.
Oh, how he got set up last week and had
Yeah.
to fill in the match for him.
And I genuinely believe next week on Monday, when Sheamus and Grayson go at it, that's going to be the moment they finally do it. They finally rip the two of them.
I would
apart.
have to agree. Most people would say Logan Paul fits great in there, but I don't think he's on television enough or there. Even though
Available enough.
even though he's a full timer, technically he's not used enough for him to fit into that faction.
I wouldn't even say he's not used enough. It's more of who would benefit from this move more.
Exactly.
And in my personal opinion, Logan doesn't need anybody to be a better Logan. Logan is a hated person by himself. Just living, this guy gets heat. So I don't think they really need to throw him into a faction, although he will have his own eventually. But I genuinely believe someone like Austin Theory would benefit a lot from joining a team like this, especially since the last 2-3 years, all we've seen Austin do is kind of fizzle out after his U.S. title run.
Oh yeah.
And then go into the tag team division, which, I mean, as fun as it's been to see him and Grayson Waller team together for a while, it's starting to get stale.
And it wasn't a natural fit.
No,
It did work, but it didn't seem believable.
no, they just seem like two pretentious white guys that just were full of themselves. And that, like you said, it fits for now, but eventually the fans are going to get tired of that.
Yeah. And speaking of fans getting tired of, let's talk about this yeet that took 10 minutes of the show
my
and
God.
gassed and blew up Jey Uso before he even started his promo. Now, I know we're skipping ahead, but the yeet fatigue is starting to set in. Now, some audiences are with it, some people aren't, but I've got to put my hat in the ring here and say, all right, can we shorten these yeet entrances?
Yes, please.
I'm just saying, people, I get a good entrance is a good entrance, but CM Punk even said it last night. If you're just a song kid, I feel bad for you.
Right. And it's really starting to grow that way.
Yeah.
I will say
But
he was better
wait.
on the mic.
But I will say this, that match he had with Seth Rollins did shut a lot of people up about Jey Uso's moveset and his ability of wrestling moves and knowledge. He went move for move, match for match, innovated a lot of spots along with CM Punk. With Seth Rollins that surprised a lot of fans. So now that we know Jey Uso can wrestle, we don't have the John Cena phobia about his
He was much better
run.
on the mic last night. I will
Very
say.
much so. He didn't seem rattled, so to speak, because hey,
Fatigued.
running down from those stands, yeeting with the audience, taking up 10 minutes of airtime, and then having to cut a very intense promo will gas anyone.
Yes.
So I'm glad they got to that. Now, picking right back up off of that, we've got Penta versus Chad Gable. But one thing that really made me laugh is they had my boy Pat McAfee make his entrance
during
the
match.
The announcer got an entrance, and we didn't even get to see Chad Gable walk down on television. No, not at all. But we gave Pat McAfee from ESPN, our fellow ESPN brother, a nice little, welcome back.
Well-deserved welcome back, too, after getting
Yeah.
absolutely cut in half by Gunther on Saturday.
He got chopped up. I will definitely say he got chopped up.
You wonder when the eye pot or the blood vessel happened, though.
You know what? With so many, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that because with the slaps, I think Gunther gave him a receipt on one of those slaps.
You think so?
Yeah, because he was slapping the crap out of Gunther. He was like, hey, you know what? This, that, and the other. And during the match, prior to the build-up, Pat really is an athlete, though. I will give him that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He went in there. He had a little botch jumping over the rope, hopped right back up, got smooth into the whole motion of things. But once he started really committing to these moves, Gunther let him know. Cute, but not
today.
Yeah, not today, Sonny. So shout out to Pat McAfee for getting in there and really enjoying the sport, becoming a part of the show. And it was a good look overall. It made no sense storyline wise whatsoever, but that could have been a spot for somebody else's match. But again, this is, I think, because let's not forget last year's Backlash as well, where we got the Bad Bunny and Damian Priest match. This is starting to become a celebrity spot now.
Right, exactly. And I think that's kind of what this was, is that the WWE knows, or at least knew going in, Pat has always wanted to be part of the family in terms of being an actual wrestler. The only time we've ever seen him actually wrestle was at a WrestleMania in LA, where it was barely even a wrestling match. It was more of a setup promo with The Miz. And this was his first chance to actually show the locker room that he could hang and actually be a part of the family.
With a top dog.
Right. Then I think that was the point. I think that's why you got, although I didn't like it, that's why you got the Gunther handshake at the end of the respect, because that was them removing the curtain and saying, okay, hold on. Me as a wrestler, not as Gunther, but as a wrestler, I respect the hell out of you because you let me beat the crap out of you for 10 minutes.
Tried. You definitely tried, and you hung in there, and you didn't piss yourself, bro.
Exactly.
Most people got pissed running down their back, up their leg, whatever.
Once they take that first chop, the entire thing changed.
I was more happy that we didn't see Goldberg, because that's what the rumor was.
I really was expecting
I was super happy that we didn't.
The more we talked about that, the more I kept thinking to myself, that really doesn't make sense that this would be a setup for Goldberg.
Well, Goldberg tends to throw a fit when he doesn't get his way. So I'm pretty sure they paid him a nice amount of money to have a proper retirement match, because we don't know where Gunther's moving forward in this series. And we do have some pay-per-views, PLEs coming up that are 2 nights in a row, such as SummerSlam. Also, the way they're booking this Saturday night main event, we don't know if that might lead to something further down the line in between that, maybe more so towards Money in the Bank. So keep your eyes peeled, people. So back to Penta and Chad Gable. Let's just get to it. Penta knocks off Chad Gable with a Mexican destroyer from the top rope.
That one was impressive.
And it was superb.
The flip from Chad Gable to set it up, and then Penta's timing with the Mexican destroyer it was a beautiful move.
Now, what I'm starting to notice here with the blending of El Grande Americano and Chad Gable's persona, about a week and a half ago, you had Adam Pearce kind of catch him slipping with the Hey Grande, and he looked, and this was for Cinco de Mayo, and he just, gave him a nod back, but in Spanish with the reply, which was kind of the indication like, okay, folks, we know it's really him under the mask, but Chad Gable can't beat luchadors. El Grande Americano can. So there's going to come a certain point where these two storylines converge and it's either going to blow up or they're just going to drop it.
Well,
so I can't wait to see that happen.
Now, I know we say El Grande can beat other luchadors, fellow luchadors, I should say.
Not fairly.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point I was just about to bring up here is obviously the steel plate has come into effect, much like with Logan Paul with the brass knuckles for a long time.
Yes.
Will that get stale?
Well, if you see, he kind of threw the flying headbutt into a move set with Penta and reached for as if he had the mask and looked at the camera, which I think was a great play on Chad Gable doing, I mean, absolute top tier villainy, top tier work. This man, Chad Gable, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the shape he's gotten into to do both of these roles is insane.
Right.
Insane, bro, for you to have to learn this style and still blend it with that style and go out there and pretend to be two different people when we know it's you. You know it's you. It's the whole work. It's the gimmick. It's the point of the kayfabe you're introducing to the audience. Hats off to that man. I hope he's getting paid extra.
He is such a great wrestler, man. Just watching that match last night just reminded me, you know, because there was a few times that I'm seeing a lot with Penta matches where he fumbles along with a couple moves.
Oh, yeah.
It happens a lot. But, I mean, Gable was all over it and helping him throughout the match. I just give him props.
I still say Chad has to be the most underrated wrestler the WWE has, because to be able to mix old Olympic wrestling, Greco-style wrestling with luchador wrestling,
and then the WWE formula style of wrestling is insane. You have to have a high IQ to do that.
Not to mention he helps train a lot of these guys like Ivar does and many others that are still wrestlers as well. But this dude is just otherworldly, and the fact that he hasn't had a legitimate singles championship, I say legitimate because he's currently the speed champion.
Yeah, we don't count that.
El Grande Americano. But I just it's almost a disservice at this point that this guy hasn't won at least the IC title or the US championship.
I'll tell you like this. Chad Gable is so great. How great is he? He's so great. He could literally kick the crap out of everybody on the AEW roster and out wrestle them hands down.
Easily.
I would definitely put my money on Chad Gable. Let's go ahead and get to American Made versus the War Raiders. They win over the War Raiders with a Brutus ball from the top rope that looked immaculate. It was like, you know, when you drop the shrimp in the Alfredo and the noodles, and it was just a perfect dish right there. That match went for about 7 to 8 minutes with one commercial break, and I think the New Day on commentary was hilarious.
Yes,
you know, the fat
jokes kept me watching it.
Was just, it was unnecessary, the vulgarity that the New Day was attacking the War Raiders with, but it was a great watch, you guys. Now, we talked about Jey Uso earlier with that 10-minute intro and whatnot, but let's talk about what happened afterwards. Before Seth Rollins left the venue, he gave Braun Breaker an assignment, and later on that assignment we seen was to take out Jey Uso. And this was right before we had a segment where Ludwig Kaiser, who we haven't seen in a while, was getting ready to speak. Then we cut to the noise and the interruption, and Braun Breaker leaves Jey on the ground with a woof. Not a yeet, a woof.
Did you see the cross in the background?
Oh yeah,
New Day.
Oh yeah, come on, man. Karrion Kross is the #1 selling shirt right now.
His shirt.
Yes, the puppeteer fingers on the strings that says "string them up."
Great.
And that's crazy. Out of nowhere, you can't really say we didn't see this coming. I'm just glad that it's happening for him. There's nobody more deserving on the roster right now to get a spot, a look, a shine, an opportunity than I feel Karrion Kross. And you fans, trust me, when you see what this man can do, how he works, and the storylines that are applied, you will be thanking me for giving you this information on checking this guy out. Now let's move along with AJ Styles. And we got Finn Balor, the Judgment Day. Definitely. I would have to say the Bullet Club OGs put it on.
Yeah.
They gave you a wrestling clinic. They showed you that this is far from over, and we are still at new beginnings and a possibility of these guys having some type of future interactions, because Finn is done with Judgment Day after this.
I don't know about the Judgment Day, but at least Dom. I mean, because his boys were there for him, but Dom wasn't. So I think it's just a perfect setup, and I could see Dom going with Chad or going that direction.
I think Dom goes by himself. I
Yeah.
think it's
I
time
thought
for
that
Dom
for
to
sure,
lean on
but
his own.
then I saw the relationship with JD.
Yeah.
So I just, it would be hard for him to just walk away from JD because that's his boy. So
Well, he's been wanting to bring in new people to the Judgment Day, and I don't think any iteration of the Judgment Day is going to smack or be effective like previous ones. So we could just drop that and call it something else.
yeah, or even when Dom or JD, and then when they did the interview, the promo,
Yeah.
when he was saying, you're acting like they
Red,
were
Rhea and Damian,
Damian.
when they got titles. So
and is it just title envy?
It's
Yes.
title
Is
envy.
it title envy
Yes.
that he has? He doesn't have a title.
Although that was probably the funniest bit they put in the entire show last night was Dominic Mysterio learning about time zones.
That was hilarious.
That was
really
really funny.
Now, before we get out of here, we've got Becky Lynch ranting and raving in a promo that honestly, to me, it made sense, but it made no sense, folks. She's basically embracing all the characteristics that they say about her online, from her holding people backstage
Right.
to how she snuck the event from Bailey, to being greedy, to being selfish. All the internet rumors and backstage stories personified in this promo that she dropped, which almost made me
I get that, but
fall asleep.
is it not a smart idea though? Kind of like Kevin Owens was doing, that you lean into what the internet says to make you even more of a heel.
Yeah, you got to jump in front of that. You've got to have some type of narrative control and steer the wheel as much as you can from fans and analysts like myself who are going to speculate on what's going to happen next. So she just put everybody on notice. I am coming for you no matter what you have. Women's title on SmackDown, on Raw, whether it's mid-card,
and
high card, whatever, we're going to take it.
Can I highlight one thing as well, since I brought this up yesterday? For as good as everybody says that match was, the champion still not to be seen.
Yeah.
So what is the point of keeping the belt on Lyra when we know she isn't the face of the belt?
My thing is, if they were going to put her in a dark match with the IC title, which is sometimes what they do with whomever to keep them fresh and on TV or whatnot, why not have her interrupt Becky's promo?
Right.
That would have been great for them to actually have a blow off to their feud at the next PLE or Saturday night's main event. Just get it over with, because we know this is far from done and they're already 2 in. So that third one would be perfect. But is anybody else feeling Becky fatigue?
No, I think I'm feeling
love
Lyra
Becky.
fatigue.
I'm exactly. I'm the same way.
I'm just over
I'm
the
just
whole
getting used to Becky.
the bird gimmick.
Yeah.
And
No,
feathers
I'm
and-
so over Lyra.
so
who's going to take the title from her?
but that was going to be my next question. Who do you see taking this title off her?
It should have been Becky.
Because we need an
100%.
established name.
Yes.
I repeat, we need an established name, or this women's IC title goes the way of the women's world championship tag titles, which sucked.
It should have either been Becky or Bailey. It should be one of those two. Somebody who's a horseman that can make the actual title look the way it's supposed to look. I have the same issues with the U.S. title right now being on Zelina Vega. I love Zelina off or outside of the ring. In the ring, she leaves a lot to be desired.
Yes.
And it really just, you need somebody that's going to make these belts actually worth a damn, is the best way to put it.
Just throw Rhea Ripley to the IC title picture and,
See,
and
but
elevate
she's
that.
so big. It's like Io. She's so
hard.
big that you can't put her
Yeah,
there.
it's the name's
But
too
these
big.
aging out, I shouldn't say aging out, that's a bad way to put it, but these
Super disrespectful.
these veteran women like Becky and Bailey and all of these horsewomen who set the stage for them that are looking to become Grand Slam champions, let them become the Grand Slam champion and build up those titles so the young cats coming in have something to strive for.
Indeed. Now, speaking of championships, we had the women's world champion Io Sky teaming with Rhea Bloody Ripley versus Roxanne Perez and Giulia.
They're a great team together.
Roxy and Julia are interesting though, because they are not a team, as Julia put out at the end.
Very much so.
But did you guys kind of notice, as I did, that they are mirroring Io and Rhea in this?
Yeah.
They're showing us, hey, these are the stars right now, but Julia is the next Io and Roxy is the next Rhea.
Basically.
Well, that's how I liked it when they pinned them both at the same time. Even Rhea doing her Io's dance. I mean, I thought it was a great match. I thought it could have been flip-flopped and had the Finn and
And
the
AJ
Finn
at
match
the
is the main
finale.
event.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I thought it was a great match. But I was, scratching my head too. I was like, who's going to take these titles from both of those that you both said? And I've seen a lot of Bailey talk. I know Bailey posted that she had taken out all the people that got canned last week out to dinner, and so
Good on her too.
Yeah, I mean, doing a vet move.
Yeah, that's a real vet move right there.
But
man.
what's up with Becky? What are they going to do with Lyra, and who's next? I mean, even with that discussion, who else can get in the middle of that?
Well, that's a good question, Sparky, and maybe we'll find out at our next PLE, which will be Night of Champions, proceeding live after SmackDown from Saudi Arabia, June 27th and 28th. Now, how do you feel about that?
Is Night of Champions before Saturday night's main event? Isn't that coming up in like a week or two?
I believe
2 weeks. Yep.
Yes, I believe
A week from Saturday.
Well, I guess Saturday night's main events don't really count as PLEs. They're more of just an extra Saturday show.
That's the here, Peacock. We owe you.
Yeah,
some
we owe you a
events.
little bit of time on your thing.
So before we completely skeet out of here and put everything on Netflix, we're still contractually obligated to give you about 4 or 5 of these a year.
Night of Champions is going to be interesting, though. I'm more excited that Crown Jewel's going to Perth, Australia, though. We're getting it outside of Saudi Arabia for the first time.
I'm excited about that, which goes to show WWE is not just keeping it brand specific. They are moving
on.
Yeah, moving on. So Crown Jewel can happen anywhere in the world now. We do not have to just place that in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia because a lot of people had a problem with that. And I'm glad they were able to negotiate something,
including CM Punk.
yes, appeasing to everybody that doesn't feel safe going over there or want to work in those conditions.
Absolutely.
Just because of their political beliefs and personal beliefs, which I totally support and whatnot. Everybody has the right to their opinion. But nonetheless, this also means that now you can see different pay-per-views in Saudi Arabia, not just Crown Jewel. Speaking of pay-per-views, one that we have coming to MetLife Stadium, hosted by Cardi B.
Well,
SummerSlam.
The first time it's ever been 2 nights in a row. Now, I'm just going to go out here and say this as an artist myself and as somebody who is deeply embedded in the culture. Can we stop having rappers? If we are going to have rappers host PLEs, can we at least have rappers who are real fans and know the product, much like Wale? Okay,
this is true.
Much like Wale. I'm just gonna say that right now because the last thing I want to hear is ratchet to my ratchet with my ratchet and my friends on my wrestling.
This is true.
I'm just saying I didn't like it when Sexy Red appeared in NXT. Hey, hate me all you want in the comments. I'm just keeping it real, folks. There are certain things in wrestling that should not be cross-promoted with hip-hop. And Cardi B and Sexy Red are one example.
I agree.
I'm just saying it. If you want your kids watching this product, cool. Explain to them why she's throwing her stuff on the floor like a bag of ice. And it's not a wrestling move. Okay? That's all I'm saying. And you guys, I love you. I love you to death.
Love you too,
and we will see you guys in our next Raw review. We've got some PLE information that we'll be discussing later on this week.
Plus, Money in the Bank starts next week, so we'll have plenty to talk about.
I know we got the
qualifications.
qualifiers are coming up.
Maybe somebody could powerbomb Cardi B. I would honestly. Everything I just said, I would take back and eat with a slice of humble pie and a crap sandwich.
I would pay to see Nia Jax
or
give the Annihilator to Cardi B.
It's something.
I'd pay to see that. But
something.
We got to take a break, though. Thank you, my friend, for your time as always.
No doubt.
We got to take a break, pay some bills. On the other side, we'll be talking a little more NBA playoffs with our boy Snacks. You're listening to the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. ESPN Bakersfield, and check us out on YouTube as well at the Early Bird Special. We'll be right back.